I I really love these gatherings and I love doing the meditation that we begin with. And I'd like to start by saying that I am not an astrologer, but I've been reading some astrology just in the last few days because this is June 10th, 2021, and this is a most auspicious day. And so I see Megan nodding, so other people might want to add to this, but this is a solar eclipse and a really big, important day because what everyone is saying is that whatever seeds we plant, meaning those seeds of things that we want to manifest in our lives, those seeds that we plant are really going to be bearing fruit over the next 6 months and longer. And that the earth is going through a really big transition right now. One astrologer even says that the whole grid work of the earth, that which is sort of the magnetic field that we are attached to on the earth, is shifting and changing. And that this is also really significant for that. And so changes are afoot. And especially on this day, it's a really important day to acknowledge it. So I thought in our meditation, I would kind of walk us through it a little bit because one of the things we know is that our thoughts create what we have in our lives, and our intentions are extremely important. And this is another reminder. Most of us have heard this before, but the reminder is that we cannot afford negative thinking. We are always in a place of choice. We can choose what we think and choose how we behave. And this time that we're in is extremely important for that because we don't want to find ourselves ruminating and worrying and creating negative energy around ourselves. We want to always make that choice of choosing what it is we do want, not choosing what we don't want. So that's what we'll do in our meditation. And it'll also be a reminder that we can do that in this group, which is what we're going to do. And we can also do it at any time. So I invite all of us to just sit comfortably on your cushion or on your chair and just become aware of your body. Just feel your feet and become more aware of your feet and your seat, sitting on your cushion, sitting on your chair, and just relax into the comfort of having a body. Feel the warmth and the weight of having a body. Know that your body has a magnetic field that is attached to the earth. Everything we want and need comes from the earth, every drop of water, every bite of food. So taking a moment to feel gratitude for that as we sit in the comfort of our bodies. And now I invite you to bring your attention to your breathing. Feel the breath coming in your nose, through the back of your throat, filling your lungs. And with every breath, allow your lower belly to expand, expanding gently with every breath and contracting. Using that gentle rhythm of breathing in and breathing out to find relaxation. And if you'd like to sigh, that also adds a deep relaxation. So taking a few breaths, and think of your breath as a friend. Welcome, old friend. Relaxing your hands and fingertips. relaxing all the way down your legs and feet. This alone can be a wonderful meditation at any time when you're feeling worried or stressed. Just slowing down and breathing can bring you to a place of comfort and neutrality. And now, bring your attention to your heart center. Feel it open. Feel the comfort of being in your heart rather than in your thinking mind. This gentle feeling heart. Take a moment to think about what qualities you would like to have more of in your life, or what situations you would like to have more of in your life. They may be simple words like joy, safety, or there may actually be something in particular that you would like to create. Allow yourself to feel this. Feel yourself painting. Feel the joy of it. Writing a song, walking, eating fresh food. Allow yourself to feel the sensations of these things. Maybe for you, it's gathering with other people. What are the things that you would like to create in your life? Situations and qualities. Allow your active imagination to wander. Peace, reconciliation, health. Whatever it is for you, just perfect. But feel in your body what it feels like to have these things. What you focus on expands. So as you feel these things and focus on these things, you are creating them for yourself. And now, using your imagination, imagine that between your two hands, you have a seed or several seeds. They can be tiny or large, whatever your imagination creates for you. And now feel as these sensations from your heart move out through your arms and through your hands and into the seed. You're imbuing the seed with those things you would like to create and manifest. Health, joy, community, whatever it is for you. The seed is taking on these characteristics. And now see yourself walking through a beautiful, beautiful field. The weather is perfect, not too hot or too cold. a gentle breeze. And the earth has been plowed. Rich, dark earth has been open and is receptive to this seed. Breathing in and breathing out. And with the innocence and playfulness of a child, you carry the seed or the seeds and plant them in the earth with your hands, covering the earth, covering the seed with the earth, tucking them in, knowing that you are planting your intentions, and quietly say to the seed and to the earth what your intention is. I intend to create more joy. I intend to spend more beautiful time creating my art. I enjoy my friends and family. I enjoy perfect health and strength. Whatever it is for you, take a few moments to speak to the seed and the earth. And now, gently removing your hands and walking away from the field, know that it is so. And you're allowing for nature to take shape and to bring forth those things which you most want. And at any time, if you're feeling stressed or worried, unsafe, you can return to this meditation and know that you have planted your intentions with love and sincerity and joy and innocence. So bringing your attention back to your heart, feeling the comfort of your heart center, the innocence, feeling the calmness, happiness of being centered in your own body. One last big breath in, breath out. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back into this moment, into this community, looking forward to what you will manifest in the next 6 months and longer. And so it is.
So it is.
I started this group for inspiration, and so it was to give others inspiration, and to get inspiration from you all. And it's been giving me reason to write some songs. So I wrote this at the 11th hour at 11 p.m. last night. Still learning it, so let's hope I can get through it. Here we go. Okay. It's called Change. So it's all about what Janey was talking about. The world is changing. It's rearranging. Don't resist the change while things rearrange. Can't really stop it. So take a ride on top of it. Surrender to the change while things rearrange. Things will never be the same. Did you really like playing that game? Don't resist the change. We've really got a new chance to create a new dance. Let's come together now as one. But Mary's a poet, and she's art collector, and she's an activism for uh, uh, for diversity. Going systematic racism, opening our eyes to it. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her work. So, Mary, why don't you speak now?
Okay, am I unmuted? Well, it's nice to see all of you today. And first, as Lynn mentioned, we do collect art, and I am a poet of sorts. And during COVID, I decided that I wanted to, if I were going to do any exercise at all, I wanted it to be sort of accidental exercise. So I decided to use my smart speaker, Alexa, and turn her on and request songs and take 10-pound weights and walk laps around inside my house, where I could look at all of my art and be very comfortable and enjoy myself. as I made my laps. And so this poem is kind of a tour of that. And I hope you will enjoy this. Art in Quarantine, a walking tour. Alexa streams the highwaymen as I grab an hour's worth of iron 10-pound weights. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. I exit the kitchen in my socked feet for parts known and cherished. On my left, Chagall in Paris, while Sarah in her chapeau is smiling as only Cassatt can sentiate. On my right, Picasso's playful print accesses my need for whimsy. Next, a photographic longing for my sister Kate. Is she resting in the peace that passes my understanding? Two ancient Japanese faces acquired by Frank Lloyd Wright because my niece Casey claims him as her great-grandpa. Beyond the brass rocking horse, I see myself on a bad day in Jim Burnett's painting before I reach the southwestern beauty in lilac and charcoal from Native American R.C. Gorman. Bookshelves strewn with Langley's glass, a 4th century horseman, Wedgwood, ceramics, and eclectic wood carvings like the many pianos created by a Czech artisan. Fleming's bronze owl shares the piano with Dale Chihuly. In the corner, Powell's laughing cheeks indeed resembles a shimmering and colorful glass derriere. High above me, the stained glass window secured from some long ago French family's chapel. Rounding the room, precious family photos warm my memory. A Rothko-like landscape, an oil can wrapped with painted glass, David Kidd's Refugees, and Dolly's St. Bernard's Prayer propel me past an array of plants gardened for the indoorsy hiker. Ahead, Ula Darney's decorative glass chandelier in yellow orange, deep purple, grayish blue, fire engine red, with its black wrought iron escutcheon plate and curved arms. Behind it, Duvery's sassy diva in her yellow raincoat. A return to my kitchen before the highwaymen belt, my name can't be Mama today. I would not change my interior sachet, but for my irregularity in taking the tour.
Mary, tell them a little bit about your work that you've done.
Okay, I work, I march for Black Lives Matter, and I have done all kinds of, workshops having to do with diversity and prejudice reduction and bias, and have been very involved in a camp for high schoolers who are put there together. It's a huge demographic and very multicultural demographic of young people. And I have been on staff at that camp for 23 years. And I'm just very committed to social justice work, and not as committed as I could be, because when Janey was doing her thing, one of the seeds that I had was commitment, because I would like to be more committed. And Lynn asked me to say a little bit about Juneteenth, which is coming up on the 19th of June. And in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. But as late as June 19th of 1865, when the Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, the state's residents finally learned that slavery had been abolished. So it had been 2 years since Lincoln had issued the proclamation, and there were more than 3 million slaves who were emancipated with that proclamation. So as of June 19th, 1865, the residents of the formerly enslaved people began to celebrate with prayer and feasting and song and dance. And the very next year, it was a celebration in Texas, Juneteenth, because it was Emancipation Day and Jubilee, and different names were attributed to it. And then in 1980, Texas took Juneteenth on as one of its holidays, official holidays, and other states have done the same. And so Juneteenth can be a really big deal, particularly in the lives of people of color, because it was really the day that they celebrate as Emancipation Day. So that's just a little history of Juneteenth, which is coming up next week. And then I have a poem that I wrote regarding George Floyd, and I'm going to read that to you now. It's called When You. When whiteless, excuse me, when white, clueless, you transport to the Minneapolis corner of 38th Street and Chicago Avenue, you cringe secondhand to first-degree carnage as the video creeps toward death of another Black human beside a Black and white. George Floyd, who bought a pack of Winstons with a suspect bill, was chilling by his car when police wrangled him, beaching him in cuffs on the concrete as he chants his own dirge, I can't breathe. After Chauvin casuals his hands in his pockets and his 200-pound knee on Mr. Floyd's misdemeanor neck for over 9 minutes. You sit in, lie in, march, say his name, striving to assuage your white shame and insist that Black Lives Matter until 11 months and countless Black victims later, some anemic brand of justice is served as Gianna Floyd's daddy changes the world. When you, an innocent of 9 in your emerald sweater, bystand the big bad wolf in cop's clothing on that street corner, fodder for lifelong PTSD, a horror in slow-mo, you brave the grown-ups in lupine badges to tell your truth about watching the man stop moving under the monster's knee. The nightmares continue even as he is captured on more than video. When you, 17-year-old Darnella Frazier, walk in front of Cup Foods that day, your gut gags as you begin to video what you recognize as excruciating murder of a human being. Your phone unflinching long after the man cries out for his mama, long after he ceases to move. You apologize in tears for not saving him, as though you had the privilege or power to do more than make all aware of an atrocity in real time.
And I'd like to introduce Megan King, who I've known more through music. She has come to Flute Haven Native Flute School, where I'm on staff, and Music for People, where I was on staff. And she's also a dancer, where I recently played music for her, leading the dance improv for group motion. And she's also a scientist, and now I'm discovering she is a artist that does about every medium. And Megan, tell us a little about yourself.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and it's just really honored, and just this rich experience that you have every time I've been to this. There's such depth in what's going on, people presenting. I came to Delaware some 20 years ago for a job in science, and soon after found out they had this great artistic community that just like that was a no-brainer for me. And that's Arden. And I don't know if all of you know about it. You probably don't, so I'll just tell you a little bit. It was started by an architect and a sculptor like over 100 years ago. And there are 3 theaters. There's a concert series. There's just all kinds of the Shakespeare. There's all kinds of things you can get involved with, like a gardening. They have these things like guilds that you can get involved in various interests if you want to have a community feel. There are dinners. There's gardening guild, as I mentioned. There's just a lot of different things you can get involved with, and everyone's considered an artist and has these interests. So it's just a really neat place to be. And one thing they have put on every year is an arts festival. But, of course, with the pandemic, they couldn't do that. So it was canceled last year, and an idea came up from a couple of the residents, and Stuart and Mari Craig, to have an artisan trail. And what that was is a small version where people, if they want to show their work, they could do it right at their house, outside, and just invite some friends and family. So it was sort of just a more intimate kind of setting, and people enjoyed it. Like over 25 artists have signed up. So the last one was September, or the first one was September, and the last one was just this past Saturday. So I was involved with both, and just wanted to share some of the art that was there. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so welcome to the Garden Art Gallery. I'm here welcoming you in. I'm outside my house, and above me are some hand-painted silk hoop sun catchers. So I've fallen in love with these sun catchers because it's just so much fun to apply the dye, and you can have wax, you can have some resist to contain it and make it very stained glass like. So it's very fun. It's very fun to do. And so let's just jump to the next slide where I'm going to focus in on that earth, that one of earth. So actually that was done for a show at Wallingford that was about the pandemic. And the idea behind this was, I don't know if anybody else saw all these, like the view from my window. People all over the world were posting photos of what they could see outside their window, and there was just a lot of sharing going on and cohesion, and people were loving it. And so this hangs in a window because it's a sun catcher. And it's the world, and my idea here was that it's like everybody was being more unified over this virus threat, and so it's like this one world type thing. And the title of this is Hamo, and Hamo means home in Esperanto. And so Esperanto is a language that was invented to be like a universal language that ideally people would learn. And there are still some Esperanto groups, but it obviously hasn't caught on. But it's relatively simple to learn, and so it's kind of like the one world, one language, or we all can speak sort of the same language. So yeah, that's this one. Let's go on in the garden and looking at this falling leaf totem pole. So you can see at the top there's a cardinal, and cardinals have all kinds of symbolism. I get a lot of cardinals in my yard, so that's kind of in honor of that. They're kind of a spiritual message bearers, and they're associated with loyalty and love. And so anyway, I put that at the top, and then there's this out of clay also is that branch that he's sitting on, and then these leaves which are all sort of falling on a bit of earth. So you see the little round ones are like little bits of earth, and then of course the big earth underneath all of it, and changing colors as they go. So that's about transformation. And yeah, and moving on further, this is so I'm crazy about flowers, and this is how can I say, it was inspired by a repurposed hammock stand. So I had this hammock stand that was falling apart, and we cut it up into 3 and had this nice arc to it that reminded me of a plant stem. So I like, okay, let's make a giant plant. This is like human size. And but how do I do the flower that can last all year round? And so that's been a journey in itself. So what you're seeing is actually the center is out of clay, because I'm really into pottery. So that it's almost easy for me to like just make it out of clay. And then the petals are wire that's been wrapped with flag tape. So that's my current version of it, and it's gone through 1 winter, and it's holding up. It's a little bit needs a little work, but it's not too bad. So that's that. And of course, as I said, I love flowers, so I'm going to continue on the flower theme. This is 28 watercolor flowers, and they were painted for Fun a Day. So that's again, I don't know if anybody is familiar with that. Actually, I think it's in most states. In the U.S. I don't know if it's beyond that now, but what it is to inspire artists to bring more, to get and do art every day, and just a little bit, just make it a habit. And so you come up with a theme for your art, and away you go. And if you miss a day, it's not a big deal. So that's why it's supposed to be fun. And then there's an art show, whether it's online or in person, obviously online in the pandemic. And, it's just a fun thing to do, and to see what everybody comes up with is pretty amazing. So, yeah. So I want to say one more thing about the flowers real quick. Yeah, so the idea behind the flowers is like, I painted each one of these individually over the month, but I'm also looking at making them all relate. Like, do I have enough variety and enough, what's the color? Do I need something that's pink here? So they're all sort of connected. So I just wanted to mention that. And then going on to the next one. So this is about dancers' energy, and this is out of porcelain, and the walls are very thin where you can see the light showing through. There's a string of lights, green lights in the center. It's also got this green celadon glaze on the outside, and just that connection and energetic spirit that dance brings. So moving on, this is a veil. It's rather large. It's like 9 feet long. I think it's 5 feet wide, 4 feet, something like that. It's very big, and it's a big thing. I don't usually paint that big, so that was very exciting for me. And what do I want to say? It starts with like blue, the hottest flame, goes through red, orange, yellow to the top, and there's sort of like gray smoke that you can't see because and there's some insects up there, and you can see maybe some little red hearts throughout. But I love the photo of this, because I think that, by the way, Harold took, who's here. Harold Katz did most of these photos. The light coming through the leaves kind of inform the piece. It's like it's even something else now. It's it has a different look. And moving on. So this is a pastel of upstate New York, the Cascades area, I think, and I did it plein air, but there's a backstory to this. So it's plein air is painting outside. That's all that means. So I went through this period where I was doing these plein air paintings and landscapes and infusing them like with a story as I went along, and it's kind of an interesting thing for me. In this case, it involves also having the eye move through the painting. So the story is part of the, how you look at the painting potentially. So you see these flowers and they kind of like arc around. Well, they weren't doing that in the real thing, but that kind of like helps guide the eye to go toward the center of the painting. And right at the center are these gnarly vines or whatever they are. And there was like, so I made a little opening so you could get beyond that. But of course, some of them continue on. So in my mind, this was like midlife or huge obstacles in life. And, maybe you can get through them, or you're looking for a way to get through them. And then it opens up to this great field where, it's very peaceful. You can go in any direction. And then there's some mountains, pretty high hill there, I guess you could call it. Allows you to go to the top of that hill because there's a clearing pretty easily, and then whoa, there's these cool blue mountains off to the right and Nirvana over there. So it's kind of like just gently moving you up and out and into this beautiful sky space. And I've got another example of that kind of storytelling in this next one, which is this barn. Again, another pastel, plein air. And I guess what attracted me here was this wheel and how it was, you could see where it scratched the barn. And, so that the wheel of life, and it's moving, but it's obviously going back and forth. And so now the story here is not necessarily about moving your eye through the picture. It's just sort of like trying to find meaning and understanding, like, what's another way of finding this interesting besides this crazy green barn paint and all these textures that are really fascinating. It's also about maybe these two doors. So what's behind these doors, and which door do you pick? Like, so is this like making a decision? Do I go through this cool door with the horseshoe, good luck on it, or do I go through the door that's like blended in with the rest of the barn? And what does that mean? What's that crazy window up there? All that going on. So that kind of makes it fun for me to ponder as I'm, putting layers of pastel to build up these textures. And we have just a couple more here. This is obviously a leaf, sort of a whimsical leaf, and it's sort of very fractal. So I love fractals, and if you look carefully, I've tried to make the eyes sort of like leaves. The nose is a leaf, the mouth is a leaf, I believe the nostrils are probably leaves. It's a leaf within leaves, within a leaf, and just had a lot of fun realizing how a lot of our parts of us can be reinterpreted in the leaf shape, so that was a fun thing to do. And I'm going to close here, which is just to let you know, like, if you want to do one of these shows outside your home, like, it's very actually easy to hang 2D paintings on your siding. If you have siding, there's this little metal, I don't know if you can even see that, you probably can't, but anyway, there are clips that allow you to hang things from it, and it can be quite heavy, so that's actually makes it a very easy task to do. And let's see, and I also want to mention that there's the art of art, so sort of a fractal art thing going on here. So Harold's taking pictures, and that this is sort of, I thought, a really cool one, whereas this tree shadow overlaid the art. And so that's pretty fascinating, and just to thank him for taking all these photos. And also a fun thing to do with this is to invite your musician friends over. So I did that at the last one, and it was just great being outside with the art and the landscape and the garden and the music, all of that. So I think I will close it right there.